Hello and welcome to the workbench. What have I done now? I bought myself a hedge trimmer. This is a Echo HC-210E or 210E. I bought it just as it is now, missing the pull start. It's got a broken throttle handle, cable disconnected. The air filter cover was mounted on there. I do have the air filter, and it was a lot dirtier. I'll insert a picture here so you can see what it looked like. Now, in order to just see if we've got any spark, any compression, I'll just squirt a bit of carburetor cleaner. Not too much because you can damage the engine. Just a little bit to see if it fires, and then we at least know we have some compression and we have spark, and then we can go further. I'd like to at least to see if it runs for a little bit, and then we might take it apart and sell it as parts, because I'm missing the pull start and they're quite hard to find and not really worth too much. So I have seen that a coil of one of these has sold recently for about £25. The whole hedge trimmer cost me €20 plus €14 postage because it came from France. Trying to find something locally that doesn't work, even like this, very hard. So it actually works out cheaper for me to buy from France or Germany. The UK used to be quite nice, but since all of the import fees have come, it's challenging and not worth it anymore. So I've got some carburetor cleaner. Just spray a little into here. Try and see if we can get balance the throttle cable just to be open. Now, because the cable is broken, I don't need to worry about the stop switch. I've got my electric start. Okay, let's see. So, as could be heard, there was a bit of life. And like this, it's a size 13, a great electric start. It's probably only about a 21cc engine or something like that. It does have an ignition module underneath the fuel tank over here. Without that, it won't run. And it's got a Denso spark plug. So now I guess we can see about trying to connect the fuel tank. This fuel line here has split. There's a bit of insulation for an earth wire connected with a screw. I don't know what the plan was with that. There's another bit missing here. There's a primer bulb missing. Have to figure out where everything goes. So it's not 100% clean yet, but I have cleaned off the worst of it. And there's no gasket. The gasket that is stuck to the intake should be over here. So that's not the greatest Okay. Alright. It's always fun to see what people have come up with to make something run. So we can see we got 3 ends where a hose can fit. I don't see any scoring on the intake side, so that's at least something good. It's only got a single direction blade. Now this is all quite rusty, so I'll probably try and leave the flywheel in place, but we can remove the coil. I also don't need these screws because the poles are missing. At least we do have a fuel cap. Although the rubber duck bill has turned rock hard. But we'll get to that another time. And this one's nice. Dirty as well, a bit rusty. So we'll clean that off when we get to that. Oh, the cylinder fins could be worse. Can at least still see the fins. I've had instances before where these are completely covered. Can't even identify the fins anymore. So there's one wire we need to repair. There's a brake over here. There's a brake in there. This one fits to the module. It's not really tight anymore, so might have to squeeze the little tab inside to provide a bit more resistance. This coil needs a clean. This throttle cable is also not looking so healthy anymore. Let's see how it looks inside the gearbox and this custom modification that someone has obviously done. It doesn't quite look original. Probably the rear part is broken off, and this way they can keep it all together. Right. So it can be seen that grease has not been replaced in a very long time. The bearing is nice and noisy. There's no play in it, but it had some nice water inside. The teeth are still surprisingly good. I think it'll last my test, and then we'll take it all apart again. There we go. Alright, let's see what kind of treasures await me inside this carburetor. And no wonder the diaphragm is hard, but overall that part there looks quite clean. This part is a little dirty, but I've seen a lot worse. Let's have a look in here. This is a Walbro carburetor. Usually this side is a bit dirty because of the fuel screen that is inside. Yeah, it's a little bit dirtier. And that part there as well. So what I like to do first is just spray the carburetor with a bit of carburetor cleaner. Okay, close the lid. We can press on. This has a set program. Don't know exactly how many seconds. The other one has a few settings. It's done. Okay, so now we can throw this water out. Now you can blow the water off using compressed air. Usually I just again use some carburetor cleaner. You can also use brake cleaner. Then we got a clean cloth just to wipe it off. Pink edge around here that looks like varnish. You don't want to remove that because that is the part of the glue that holds in these little plates. So there's two tricky parts to these carburetors. One, sometimes installing this can be tricky, and the other time I find that the filter is more annoying than the rest. Punch and just don't press hard, just until it sits on that edge. Make sure it's all nicely seated around it, and that's it. This one went in easy. Some of the Zama filters, they can be a little tricky.